This is Sardinia. Actually not Sardinia proper. But I forget the name. I should at least know the name of where I am. It's been a month-long tour, and welcome back to Free Friday. Do overblows sound like what? Subscribe today for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free harmonica lessons. There's that Italian siren. I wonder if I could play that. Here we are. Today's Free Friday is about, well, I was inspired by a Facebook comment. Said, and so somebody asked a question. I posted it at the beginning of the video. Somebody said, can you overblow on stainless steel reeds? And somebody wrote something like, it doesn't matter. It sounds like you know what, right? You read it. So anyway, you know, there's that. So we're going to talk about that today, right? Do overblows sound like poo-poo? Let's go inside and sit down so that the camera's a little less shaky. All right. Put you in the harp case here. There we go. All right. Yeah, you're right. Do overblows sound bad? Well, just about anything can sound bad on a harmonica. I mean, I can make a two-draw sound like that, or like this. Right? I can make two double bend sound like this, or like this. Three, or right. So it's all like the old saying, it's not what we do, it's how we do it, right? But let's be honest, overblows are hard to learn, and they are hard to make sound good. And it does take a while, not only to learn them, but then to set up our harp a little, which does not take a long time, and you don't need to spend lots of money on it. You just need a little thing like this to, you know, like a little dentist pick or a toothpick, or I've used splinters from stages before. And you just push the reed up a little, and there you go. But do they sound like shit? So let's talk about that. Any note can sound bad if you're not playing it right, but an overblow in particular can really sound pretty bad. Like it can sound like something's wrong with a harmonica. Like, let me see if I can make one. Right? Or so which one's the bend and which one's the overblow? So I'm not so sure that guy who made that comment could tell me where, the overblow is in this scale. Maybe he could, but I bet he could also tell you where the bend was. So it's really just about how we get it. And one of the things is that they definitely are at times noticeable, especially on a lower harmonica, like like a G harp. Well, that wasn't that bad. That's the 4 overblow. There we go. So you can hear that little bit. But in context, and this one isn't even really been set up that much. Like, I got a nicer one here, right? In G. So there's a 6 overblow. Here's a 9 blow. So I'm just showing you, you know. Now what's the key to making them sound good? Okay, let's talk about that. Now, when I learned them, I was, in the beginning, I was one of the first guys, that was out there doing them. Now by first guys, I mean there was probably 100 or so people or more that were at that time that were doing them, but there's only a handful of people that were doing them like in public. This is even before the internet, right? And like, there were a few guys. So obviously the most popular was Howard, and then Carlos Del Junco was doing them way before me. Michael Peliquin, Chris McCulloch, Paul Messenger. Those are all cats that were probably playing them before me. And I learned it from Adam Gusso, who I believe learned it from William Gallison, who learned it from Howard Levy. So anyway, when I first started doing them in blues, it was really a big no-no. The blues guys, the older blues harmonica players were like, oh, those sound like shit and don't do them and all this. And I just agreed with them. And for years, I didn't pursue it. And then I started falling in love with jazz. I just wanted to learn a few simple heads like... So I just wanted to learn a few things, and just in second position, I just wanted to be able to play the major scale. Just in second, play some of the songs that I was listening to, and not necessarily play jazz, but just throw in a little jazz into my blues. I really wanted that flat third in the second octave, so the same note as the 3-draw bend. just for my blues playing. Just for my blues playing, I wanted that. And then next after that, I wanted to be able to go. So the point I'm trying to make is a lot of the guys that I came up around were really hard on me at that time. And, oh man, I can't believe you're doing that and all this. So rather than like trying to become like a heavy jazz cat and just going, okay, overblows are great and I'm going to do them, I really spent a lot of time really trying to make them sound good and pretty. And so I started like messing with the intonation, like disguising any pitch issues, because a lot of the time people who criticize overblows are accurate in that they're saying that, well, when guys play them, they play them flat. So instead of playing, they play like that. So instead of, they're hitting a pitch that's in between two other pitches. So I would just start like shaping the overblow so that I was hitting all the pitches. Same with overdraws. So I would just start kind of making them pretty. Instead of trying to play lots of fancy, stupid stuff like I was just doing, I would spend hours just going. So instead of, I would just kind of try to decorate it. That little waver. So bend up and then kind of back down. And really practicing like the same kind of stuff on the bottom. So I try to do that same phrase. Let's try it again. Then I try to do it. Right, so just try to get it. Now you notice sometimes I'll hold them and put even a little bit of that jaw vibrato or pitch vibrato. Right, but you don't hear me do it too often. You also don't hear me spend tremendous amounts of time holding down the 3 double bend. Right, but I will if the song calls for it. Now, the other thing is, just because I can play chromatically on the diatonic doesn't mean that I'm not going to select a harmonica in a different position just for the purpose of avoiding having key notes land on overblows. So if a song has me falling on an overblow that I have to hold for a long time, I very well may choose to, like especially if it's like a 4 overblow on a low F, I very well may choose a different position just to avoid that, right? So there's definitely like truth to this matter that, but I'll do the same thing with a bend note, right? Shucks, I'll tell you what, I'll do the same thing with a blow note, right? I don't want to land on a non-expressive when I can land on a instead of a right. So sometimes I will choose a position not just based on whether or not overblows are too many in it or not, but also based on how I think it sounds best. And sometimes the overblow is the thing that makes it sound great. For example, like if you listen to my song, The Blow Zone Layer, I can't remember if I play this right, but so like instead of doing 7 draw, 6 overblow, 6 blow, I actually bend the 6 overblow up to the same pitch as the 7 draw. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with overblows that you can't even do with regular holes that actually sound better than. And not to mention the fact that you can't even play what I just played without an overblow. So if you're the kind of person that just loves old Little Walter stuff in that kind of music, well that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. And you don't need the overblows. And there's so many wonderful players that I listen to all the time that don't play overblows, and I never sit around and think, oh well boy, wouldn't they be better if they only played overblows. It never occurs to me. It's just a note, right? It's just a note that, now wait a minute, let me amend that. If they're covering a jazz song and they change the jazz song because they can't play the note and they change the song, that they lose a little bit of points with me. You guys know I'm crazy about Paul Butterfield. You know that I love Butterfield. But on Work Song, he changes the melody. That's good. And then so that's the actual note. And what does he play? Right? And I really like that note. It's a major 7, and it offsets the tune. It really. I was learning a song yesterday, and sometimes laziness gets the best of us, and in our mind we say to ourselves, "Close enough." Well, that's close enough, or that sounds like it is, or if that's not what it is, I don't want to know, or I'll wait and see if anybody corrects me, right? And we'll learn the number, and we'll learn it wrong. Well, let me tell you, some of the devil is in the details, and so is God. And I'm telling you, the little things, if we start compromising the little things in our lives, then and boy, do I know, it's not like I don't do this. I'm not even talking about harmonica. But when we start letting little things slip, we start being dishonest with ourselves about little things. Well, man, it's real easy for the bigger things to start getting out of control. And the same thing goes with our music. So we want to value the fact that, that this is how the song goes, and we want to play it. Now, if we want to change it later, after we learn it, that's something completely different. Okay, that's a conscious choice. That's a choice that's motive is made out of artistic motivation, right? The artistic, our interpretation, right? It's different than, oh, well, I don't know what the note is, so I'm not going to play it, or I can't find it, or it's an overblow, so I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to change the melody of Cannonball Adderley's song because, that's how it is. I just can't hit that note. Well, I don't know. I would be happier with somebody ghosting the note, just not playing it. I would rather hear that than somebody change the melody that's to the song, So anyway, So that's my point. That the only time that it bothers me is when people change really beautiful music to to suit the limitations of the harmonica, right? So one of the reasons I wanted to learn it was, so that I wouldn't be doing that, so I could play the music that I really loved. So does that really sound that much different? Let's see. Let's play that same lick. Let's see. Let's see if we can play that same lick in third position. So that's G. So without an overblow, I could do it in third, right? So that would put me on an F harp. So if I couldn't overblow, I couldn't find, on one harmonica where the pitch of the siren was. But did you hear that on the F harp? So this is no overblows. Doesn't sound that different, right? Oh, there's not, listen to that now. So that's the 3 double bend. Now you can really hear that. So on this, so it's a trade-off. So I don't have to overblow on this, but I got a 3 double bend. Just to play that lick here, I get that nice 4 draw. Whereas on the F harp, no overblow, but I got a bend. Right? So we talked about earlier, the G harp overblow on 4, right? That one's a little funky, right? Right, well, what about a 3 double bend on an F harp? Right? Does that sound as good as a 2 draw? A lot of people say the whole F harp doesn't sound good. Lisa Preslin would say that, right? So anyway, the point of the matter is that you can make them sound good, okay? Look, a little attention to the action on the harmonica and a lot of work of really, really playing nice with them and just trying to make them pretty. Don't try to play a million things. Just try to make it nice. Just take something from the bottom. Anyway, there's a million different ways to do anything, and you could sound terrible and prove everybody right that bend notes are horrible and that you should just play a chromatic because bending sounds terrible, or that blow notes on a harmonica don't sound good, or you can make the stuff work for you. That's the other thing I want to talk about real quick before we go. Some of the things that drove me the most insane about the harmonica are the things that I love the most. Not only these overblows, not only do I love playing them right now, and they drove me crazy in the beginning, but also, I mentioned that 3 double bend. I used to hate playing the song Summertime because I knew I had to land on that 3 double bend. 2. Right, and I'd be so scared I'd be so scared knowing I was going to hit it that I'd mess it up. Or, right? And so finally I learned how to put this masking vibrato on it. And it became the prettiest note in the whole melody, right? So the weakness, the number one weakness became the strength. And so yes, I'm changing the pitch so that I'm intentionally off, like a singer that's singing like the national anthem and is hitting all of the notes, right? You're like thinking, oh, she couldn't sing that straight, you know? Well, it's sort of like that, but check it out though. At first it's like that. Then I get that confidence because not only do I know I can hit the note and make it sound good if I want to just by putting a little vibrato on it, but that vibrato itself has taught me where a little below the pitch is and where a little above it is. So if I need to hit it dead on, I'm not worried. So I've learned to do that because I got confident. So much of music is confidence. So much of everything is just feeling confident. And if we have to walk a little while with a crutch or a sling or something like that, in order to gain the confidence to know whatever it is, training wheels. If we have to use some training wheels for a little while to know that we can do something, to get confident enough to take those training wheels off, well then, shucks, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We don't have to rush into this. We don't have to be Howard Levy or Philippe Gers or Konstantin Reinfeld on day one. All you got to do is be you. You don't even have to overblow. You don't even have to bend. You could spend your whole life playing, cool little Mexican melodies in first position, and that may be the coolest thing that some people have ever heard, right? It's all about what makes you happy. And for me, overblowing was something I had to do, right? It was either that or give up the harmonica because I just loved jazz music too much. And I just loved what the guys in my band were playing. Even when they weren't playing jazz, I just wanted to be able to play the same thing, blues things that they were playing. And because every time they would play something to me, or especially if it was like the head of a song like that I had to learn, and I had to say, oh, well, I can't do that, on this instrument. Man, I felt terrible, right? Not just like that my pride was hurt, but like I felt bad about the harmonica. Now that's just me. Some people might not care, and that's okay. But I really wanted my instrument to be able to do that. So when I found out, and I heard Howard playing on UFO Tofu on the Bela Fleck record, and I found out all them guys, in my opinion, that had told me that Overblows sounded like crap, when I found out they were wrong, right? When I actually listened for myself with an open mind and listened to that beautiful music coming out of that man, well, that was it for me. I didn't need a saxophone or a flute or a clarinet or nothing. Not a trumpet, nothing. I said, well, I just need to, I'm already halfway there on the harmonica. I just need to learn how to do that. And then, the thing that those old guys told me about them sounding like shit, like that person at the beginning of the video said, that just motivated me to make them sound even better. That's Kate knocking at the door. I got to go. That's Free Friday. Thanks so much to Hohner Harmonicas coming. Thanks so much to Blue Moon Harmonicas. Thanks so much to Harp Gear Amplifiers, Pedal Pad, Pedal Boards, the Lone Wolf Blues Company. Oh, gosh, everybody. Tom Halchak, all y'all. I appreciate it. Patreon. Thank you for saving my butt. You guys are the best. out here on the road, man, I'll be lucky if I break even on this European tour, man. This is killing me out here, but you guys are saving my butt. Thank you so very much. Thank you to the guy that said Overblows sound like shit. I think we had a fun video. I'll see you next Friday back at home in New Orleans. Bye.